Hello and welcome back to the CDL Home Series broadcast for Chicago. Joe, our next match is maybe not the one we expected, but one we are excited for nonetheless. It's going to be Subliners going up against FaZe. And Joe, at this point in my life, I've decided that we're probably never going to see FaZe versus Huntsmen with these rosters. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, right. Everybody's looking forward to Atlanta, Chicago, right? We thought this was going to be the group. It was set up, right? We just didn't think New York was going to be as strong as they were right now. They showed it yesterday. That still goes to a game 5. It was almost a reverse sweep for the Chicago Huntsmen, but Ramaza search and destroy. What attach goes off. Temp drops 13. So New York, they are looking good so far.
Yeah, they're looking great. And on Hardpoints, Crowder was talking a lot about it. He was really gassing them up, saying he expected them to be strong. We usually trust his opinion on things, as he's one of the more decorated COD players of all time, and he was spot on. This New York team is very clearly improved, but now they have a very tough test. We know that Huntsmen have been struggling as of late. Not really the case for FaZe. FaZe seem to be in peak form, especially after their performance yesterday, and we can see if they can keep that going.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the London versus Atlanta match yesterday, it was a close one, right? It was a round 11 search. It was a 5-point hardpoint. The Royal Ravens played them well, but you saw the talent just shine through. I think if you go back and look at the stats, you had like Celium at a 1.3, Major Maniac at a 1.2, like just ridiculous stuff, which is what we've been seeing all year. And I just think you nailed it, right? They've just been so consistent every single time we see them.
Well, let's get right into the game fuel keys for victory. We're going to start things off, I believe, with the Atlanta FaZe, and we'll talk about this squad. I mean, Simp drops, 49 map 1, sets a record in respawn for this year. He picked up right where we thought he would leave off. Simp is a monster. FaZe clan are disgusting. Now, what can they do up against the Sideliners? The Subliners,
yeah,
Sideliners.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The one key to victory really is just, right, get more use out of kills and hardpoint. And I think that just comes down to that Azir cave yesterday, yeah. Right? They outslayed by like 30. They only win by 5. So we'll see what improvements they've made today.
Now the key to victories for the Subliners. If there's going to be mistakes maybe made by FaZe, that's where they need to take advantage. The only team that's really been able to slow them down has been Rocker. Subliners, can they play at the fast pace they've been doing and be able to go up against a team like FaZe? But now let's transition into our quick scope. This is going to be about as lopsided as they come, considering how good FaZe has been and how bad Subliners have been until this weekend.
It should be 20 CDL points now. 20 CDL points for the New York Subliners. Yeah, I mean, New York just hasn't looked great all year, but it feels like it's almost it was a year reset for them up into this point. This feels like the New York that we should have seen all year long.
All right, now let's take a look at the U.S. Air Force maps and modes, Joe, before we get into this best of 5. And I'm curious, for you, though, like as much as we're maybe gassing this matchup more than we thought we would coming into this weekend, as much as you like Subliners yesterday, do you really give them much of a chance against FaZe here?
I tell you what, that would be a heck of a win. Do I give them a chance? A slight chance, but I mean, Atlanta FaZe to us they're the best team in the world. So I think that's the same for everybody. I mean, you take down Chicago, and I would say talent-wise, they're pretty darn close to Atlanta FaZe. So New York, they've shown that they've got the guns, that they can do it. So yeah, we'll just have to see what they can do.
It's interesting to see Ramaza's map 1 because we saw a tweet from Temp last night basically saying, "Don't play me on Ramaza." It was after he went 13-5 on that map 1. And, you know, you've kind of discussed this with me in the past, that there are definitely maps as a player that you just feel very comfortable on. Like, did you experience that at times during your career?
Oh, all the time, right? I mean, there's just maps that you know the flow. You realize the situations you're going to be in. It's there. You know, it just comes easy to you. And this must be the one for Temp. I just feel like when you play Ramaza, especially Search and Destroy, there's just so many different timings, right? And maybe Temp knows those timings. He knows the lanes so well. But yeah, we're going to Ramaza, hardpoint map number 1. The only time that we have seen this for the Atlanta FaZe was in their series loss against Minnesota in LA. It was a very close. Remember, that's when Celium had those crazy plays.
In Ruins, right? Ruins. Where he has like 9 in a row. Yeah.
Yeah, and they still lost that one. So they're 0-1. On the other side for New York, 1-2. But again, I think we take everything for New York up until this point with a grain of salt because they just haven't been good.
And they look like a different team right now. They absolutely
do. It's just a brand new New York team. So I think one thing when we looked at the maps and modes that was interesting, these guys played all the way back in Minnesota launch weekend. And the only map that FaZe dropped was that Hackney Yard domination, and that was to New York. So we will see that once again. But I mean, that was 3 months ago or something ridiculous like that. So these guys do not have a lot of match history with one another.
And this is, I mean, it's exciting stuff because I think there are going to be those fans that kind of talk about Subliners, say, oh, you know, the online format, it's helping them. But like, this is a team, like when Scrim started months and months ago when the game first came out, it's not like they were good online. Like, they weren't. They haven't been good online. They haven't been good on land. They haven't been good at anything up until like the month leading up to this. The talent's been there, but it's not like they were good online to start. They have improved massively with Mac, and I think what really stood out though, it's not like Mac statistically had some monster day yesterday. Like he really didn't. Like his stats were kind of in line with the players that you saw in that spot before he came in, but everyone else around him really stepped up. So maybe just something how he fits in with his team makes other players comfortable. I think it's a roles thing, right? We know how important the right roles in the right situations can be. I mean, it's what we talk about like with OpTic Gaming for so long. So if Mac is doing something that's making one or two other guys play better, then he's doing his job. It seems like that's
plain and simple.
It seems like that, but here we go. Speaking of Mac, he's going to be the first player to drop, but we'll now battle for top bridge control. I think it's Zuma that's trying to work in underneath, maybe develop a flank over towards construction side, but he is top by 7. Mac's gotten up top, though, and he's in position to really be a thorn in the side of FaZe as they battle for that left side of the map. Nice win from Mac.
He's going to take down the Tiny Terrors. He's just trying to push on through for that rotation. He continues on a 5 spree. Talked about him being the first one down right at the start of the game, but he's going to help them flip the spawn. You see where 3 of the Atlanta players do spawn out. But BZ, though, he's making sure they have that back construction on the hill. Sim's going to be the last one alive against Zuma, and Zuma takes him down. The Italian Stallion going to win that one. And now, as we focus on this rotation, Mac dealing with players back construction.
Yeah, I think they almost did enough to flip that. That had to have been close.
It was close.
It had to have been just one more player, likely the difference to keep it safe at the bottom left for FaZe to get set up for next. But that's a 33-point opening hard point. Great stuff from Subliners, but now the difficult task at hand. What's the best way to try and break into this?
I don't know if there's a way you can necessarily break it. If you want to break the spawns, it's sort of doing what New York's doing right now. A lot of pressure sandbags and back construction. The problem is even when you flip these spawns, you have to get inside, which can be so difficult because there's so many sneaky areas, but they do it right away. There's the answer to your question. Well, do exactly what New York did.
You know what it was? It was 5 straight kills. I think is what it was. They won every single gunfight in that 10-second stretch, and they were able to burst in. It's just not a hard point you just don't often see that early of a break. It typically takes 2, 3, 4 hits to get some success. They finally get in. FaZe obviously regain control, and more than likely we're going to see a lead change or close to it as they get the final moments on this hard point. But good job disrupting from Subliners.
Yeah, now it comes down to these rotations, and it's going to be Simp and Major Maniac who deal with it themselves. Simp finds 3. He's starting to get heated up as we rotate over to Barbershop. And yeah, New York did a great job breaking through, but you said it, with about 25 seconds left, FaZe actually gets in. So it could have been back-to-back clean hills for New York. Instead, it turns into electronic Barbershop hole for the Atlanta FaZe, and this could be a big lead for them after this hill.
Yeah, not only did they get the final time, but they also get the opening time at next, is what's so punishing for Subliners. How long can FaZe continue to hold on? Lead now up over 20 points. Celium doing a fantastic job holding the cross. Timp, though, bunny hopping across that stretch, able to take him down. It'll fall to Priest inside, and Zuma's got his number. Behind Tim's 3-piece there, they get in. The spawn still in the back for FaZe, but the pressure now here as Timp makes the play.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about, right? When we're talking about New York, Zuma finds 4.
What?
We didn't see the he finds 5. He hits all 5. We didn't see it.
No!
The observing team, they are not happy about that one, but he continues on a 10 spree right now. It was never about talent for the New York Subliners.
We were gassing up Tip's 3-piece, and on the other side of it, Tommy just goes on a tear. What a play there from Zuma, and that lead from FaZe dismantled quickly. Lead change now back to Subliners. Mac, the Mac attack, connecting onto 2 to get the drop, and in the next hard point, soaking up the time. It's the Subliners. They start to take the lead.
Yeah, I mean, look at their setup right now. Look at the spawns where Atlanta FaZe are. I mean, you haven't even gotten across the bridge. Abizi's going to be the first guy middle of the map, and 35 seconds. New York, such a great setup from that rotation. Zuma, 20 and 9. Look at this. Accuracy is 5 and 4. He has 9 interactions. Zuma's up to 30.
Yeah. Zuma's had a streak more than his interactions, for God's sake. That is unbelievable, but the hold persists now for Subliners. Lead continues to increase. Solid effort all around from the Subliners, but they're not out of the woods yet, as FaZe, the top team in the game, can make a run at absolutely any moment. Maybe it happens here at Ruins. You mentioned Celium's crazy play here just a couple weeks ago. Well, there, a 5 spree for Celium, a triple for Celium as he's heating up towards top rung.
I mean, what a response from FaZe. Look at their setup now, right? I mean, FaZe couldn't get into construction. I don't know if New York would be able to even get to Ruins. I mean, this has been a very clean 30 seconds. Finally, they get to the front heady. Major Maniac, though, he's ready for it. Temp's going to take him down, but Celium is watching his back. Here comes the Atlanta FaZe, and it has been such a back and forth battle. It's just highlighted by the individual plays, the individual talent that we have between these two teams. When it's all said and done through the first rotation, it's going to be about a 25-point lead for the New York Subliners.
And we've highlighted this so many times, but remember, only 7 map losses for FaZe. 5 of those have come from Rocker. They have only lost 2 maps to teams outside of Rocker, and Subliners on the brink of giving them their 3rd map loss in that type of situation, which is just insane at this point in the year. As we watch Attach drop, how much more time can Subliners get here? Zuma's streak is continued. Mac going off. Tip at 20 and 13. And Attach, the guy that really was the highlight yesterday, like around a 1.2 overall, had a really solid respawn series. He's just 8 and 12. He's letting the other guys do the work.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, if you're FaZe right now, you see Priest at 9 and 19. You see Major Maniac 8 and 14. Like, you're only down 50 right now, right? Like, sort of contest the rest of this time if you can. You're gonna have the rotation over to Electronics, or are you, as all of them go down again, and never mind. Okay, so another missed opportunity maybe for FaZe. You still have a player inside of this second hill. That's gonna be a BZ, but he's gonna have a lot of work to do. Priest to help him at the front, but Temp, he's ready for it. Abizi's the last player in there. The last one. What can he do? Able to find one, but Attaches there for the trade. There's 2 Electronic shops where FaZe should have had early time in New York. Take all 5 members down to flip the spawns.
That has just been incredible from Subliners, but similar to the last time through, that success inside doesn't last for long.
It doesn't last long at all.
Well, about 5 seconds go by, and FaZe with the close spawn get right back into it. But it's still a 65-point advantage for Subliners. They look to try and close out this game. Celium will get wall banged and dropped. Accuracy will be the next man up to help Mac, but I'm not even sure he needs the help, as Mac is able to make the play inside of the hard point. Now on rotation, we'll hop and see the positioning. FaZe will be set up, but they need a really, really strong hold here, as now Subliners over 200 points.
Here comes the first push from New York. Looks like they're going to hit that search and destroy site so heavy through Ruins. Abizi, he's the next man up. Can he at least find one? He does. And his duo and Simp is able to find another one. So good job so far, but here comes all 5 players from New York through the back Ruins.
BC, though, able to take down 2, at least alleviate a little bit of the pressure on the 2 players inside of the hard point. So far, so good. Atlanta FaZe needed a perfect hold, and they've done just that. Lead dwindling, but even if they get these 30 seconds, they're still going to be down, what, approximately 40 points. So still a whole hell of a lot of work to do.
And what was so good for New York on that first rotation, the hills, it was construction. We'll see if they can get that set up again. This Priest is trying to make his way through. Has Dead Silence popped? He's going to help his teammate with a few shots, but you're going to see that's going to let New York know where he's going on the map. So as they get set up, they're going to know his position. You have Attach, who's all the way at the top, just watching that back staircase. The rest of his team going to focus on bridge and under it. Hill is going to pop an opportunity for New York to win game 1.
And you said it perfectly. Easy read there for New York. That's an easy kill now for Attach. And Zuma on the flank doing the damage as well. Can they get these final 30 points and close it out? Nobody racking up time in construction right now, but Attach doing a good job patrolling that 3rd story before finally Abizi able to cut him down. Subliners now into the point. They can close it out here. FaZe in desperation have got to try and get in and at least find some bit of contest inside of the hard point. Zuma going off again with the multi-kills, takes 2 down, finds a 3rd at mid-map before he ends up dropping. Zuma having one hell of a map 1, and this one might be done here. Attach and accuracy. They patrol the inside of the hard point. FaZe are spawning out because Max at mid-map. And map 1 to Subliners. And that is only the 3rd map loss for FaZe the entire year. The teams that are not the Minnesota Rocker.
Oh, it's the second one from New York, right? Because New York
that's right. They took the Dom.
So, yeah, Dom Hackney Yard in Minnesota. So, yeah, New York, I mean, they're confident in their individual abilities, and you see that.
Where was that,
right
in Minnesota?
there.
That was like the first.
Yeah, Minnesota.
Yeah, that was, God, it feels so long ago, right?
Clint, I literally talked about that.
It feels so long ago,
Pre-match.
man. It feels like ages ago since the Minnesota event. You know, I'm having a severe stomach virus today, Joe. So I'm probably going to hear about 20% of what you say.
Okay, well, I mean, you typically hear about what, like 25%?
Yes. So it's a little bit lower than normal.
Yeah.
We'll take a look at the overall stats as Zuma goes plus 14. You saw that 10 spree tear he had early in the map. Mac ends up having a big map. Temp as well. Not a lot of engagements for accuracy, but he gets the job done with over 2 minutes in the hard point.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, such a good job by the entire team. But taking a look at Arcloth, Peak, Search and Destroy, I mean, this is one of Atlanta FaZe's best. They are 5-0 on that map. Where New York, as I took a look at the stats, they haven't played it once in official matches. So you look at game 2, a strong one for Atlanta FaZe.
Well, I think we're going to take a look at the scuff play of the game now. It's going to be Zuma, and we missed the beginning of this. I think we see the final 2 or 3 kills he's able to get inside a barbershop, but what a tear it was. I mean, it went from, what, the temp 3-piece over to 5 in a row for Zuma. Just an insane play
I don't know what
from
he was
Tommy.
doing.
Yeah, no, I would have loved to see what it looked like from his POV. Maybe he'll be able to capture it on his end and tweet it out later, but it was just nutty stuff from Zuma.
Yeah, I mean, he just goes off. 38 kills, 24 deaths. 10 defends. The man was doing it all, and it's so awesome to see Zuma and Attach play at these levels, because we know they've always had it, but it feels like they're starting to put it together now. Well,
and on the other side of this, I think the reason that we didn't know if they'd be able to have this same kind of performance is because how good the subs have been for FaZe. We're going to take a look at a clip. Really, I think it's of like the 49 bomb we saw from Simp yesterday in game 1. Obviously, he doesn't replicate that performance here. He has a dud. He only goes 21 and 26, which is one of the worst maps we've seen from him so far to home series event. 21, not the same realm as 49, Joe. He's going to have to pick it up massively if he's going to slow down Zuma, it seems, which I think is the opposite conversation I thought we'd be having. I thought it would be like maybe Zuma struggling with Simp dominating, him having to really pick it up, but after map 1, the narrative has been flipped.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things where early on in the day, I don't know what it was just a slow start for Atlanta FaZe. But again, they've been such a good search and destroy team the whole year. Can't count them out of it yet.
As we'll check out some of the crazy plays from Simp. Just a bomb to start off this tournament. Map 1 of the entire event. And it was what would it be in? Like a very narrow victory. It was a close game, but just a wild slaying effort from FaZe and specifically Simp. But we didn't get a chance to do it before the map 1. I do want to take a look at the roster cards before we get rolling into the map 2. First, let's take a look at the FaZe side of this. Take a look at the guys on this team. They're filled to the brim with talent. We've chatted about it all year. They're elite at every position, Joe.
Yeah, there's just not really a weakness, right? You have the tiny tears. Priest, the guy was a superstar last year. Celium, he was on the come up, right, on that FaZe team towards the end of the year, and we just talked about how he was developing more and more as a player. You know, he won an MVP already this year, and then Major Maniac, right? He is that solid concrete piece, the consistent piece that you need in this lineup, and he's been it the entire year.
All right, let's look at the other side of this. It's going to be the New York Subliners, which is they've taken some time, obviously, to get this clicking. They've tried a couple of their players in, Happy in, now Mac in, and it seems that, I think you kind of nailed it when you're talking about the roles. Something here fits that is making the other players shine, or maybe, well, that combined with the fact that they're just getting better at the game, regardless of the swap. The other players that have been on this since the beginning.
Yeah, I think obviously Mac helps them, and I think we can talk about like sort of Zuma, Attach, Temp. The fact is we know how individually talented they are, but maybe they just needed some time, right, to get comfortable in this game as well. Maybe they were just a little bit behind, you know, earlier on in the year, and it's starting to click for them, and now we're starting to see, you know, the damage that they can do.
We'll see. Well, let's see if FaZe can bounce back into this. I know I was chatting with one of the FaZe guys kind of before this match, and I know they had, I think they had, what, a scrim lined up before this match? The people they were going to play against, which I won't call anyone out, but didn't show for the scrim. So the warm-up they had before this match bailed on them. I don't know if they were able to find a second scrim or get a couple maps in maybe before this kicked off, but hopefully maybe for them, that maybe is why there's a little bit of a slow start. Didn't get the practice they wanted in before this, and maybe after the map one, they'll start to turn it around here in the Search and Destroy.
Yeah, no surprise there from that team that isn't very good, not showing up for a scrim. Do you think the team? Never mind. All right, here we go. I can read about that later.
Yeah. We can save that for later. But Subliners strike first. Zuma the monster performance. Now to Arklov peak. Attach. Sniper out. Can he find anything here? Really, the only one on the opposite side of the site will be Major Maniac. He's got no line of sight there as FaZe start to move up outskirts to B.
And here's the rotation from New York as well. Attach is going to be in position, but a BZ already there, and he knows it, so he's going to take his time, go back to his spawn as a BZ starts to creep his way on up. Major Maniac as well, still very far A side. Attach is going to find a BZ, that nice little off angle with the sniper. There's that first blood, and we know how important first bloods are on this map. We saw it all day yesterday.
Yeah, he had plenty of time to wrap back and get in position. Yeah, it was with OpTic, right? All 6 of their round wins. They got the first blood. Can Subliners make something happen behind this? It looks like FaZe are going to have to give this up for now, but they only have 30 seconds to work with. And I think they've got the information from Major Maniac. I mean, look at the minimap.
Look at all 4. There's just all 4, man. All 4 are there.
I thought with Major Maniac pushed up so far that they were going to think about wrapping this out, because Major Maniac just won the fight at A, but unfortunately the bomb is now down at B. Subliners now know something's up, though, as they start to wrap back. Things might get a little bit dicey here in the mix, but Attach able to connect on the shots with the pistol. Celium's going to get caught right after the plant. Zuma finds both. And that'll be the round win for Subliners. But yeah, I was just staring at the minimap to see if Major Maniac wanted it A, because I thought when they first started to wrap back, they were going to take it mid to A. But basically, right as they committed to the site, he found the kill. It split up Subliners for a moment.
The problem is like, yeah, he was in position, but he doesn't clear everything, right? So it's still like a very big risk to rotate at 30 seconds. If there's a guy sneaking in broken in a position that Major Maniac doesn't check, what happens? The round's lost, right? You're not going to be able to even plant the bomb.
Oh, yeah, and he didn't get the kill and the clear until closer to probably 20 seconds. So
yeah, 20 seconds, yeah. So who knows? But I mean, New York just starts with that first blow with Attach, gives them the man advantage. They have the rotation over towards that B site, and yeah, they just play their numbers.
We'll try to keep an eye on the first bloods throughout the course of this. Attach and Temp both led the way for Subliner yesterday in their search and destroys. Right now, Attach and Zuma both provide 2 of the opening 5 kills. Will he get a chance now with the snipe? Zuma.
You don't have a lot of presence here from FaZe, though. There's only 2 players. One player going very fast on the flank. That's a BZ.
I thought he was going to have a free one, but Temp.
He thought so, too.
Temp finds the angle, and that's another first blood now for Subliners. Bomb down. 5v4 advantage for Subliners. Attach still holding the back with the snipe, just looking for any kind of angle. Not able to find it quite yet. Temp's got eyes mid-map on the cross, or any kind of hit through that mid-hut. Priesta does find one opening kill. Major Maniac wins a one-on-one as well. But there's only 25 seconds now on the clock to work with. Trophy out. Priesta pushing in through ditch. Might find a fortunate timing. He finds just that. His teammate guns the one in the back, and now it's just on Temp, who is watching mid-map. 15 seconds to go. The wall bangs through. He's on the defuse. Oh, I thought he might get another. I thought he might get another. The first wall bang comes through as Temp almost makes the play.
Yeah, we're learning something new right there, but still, what a retake from the Atlanta FaZe 4v5. And while you were talking, I was paying attention to their nades. Well, Major Maniac and Priesta already had their smokes pop, so they had no nades to retake that. We talk about how important that is, but it's Priesta with that dead silence. He's able to make his way through that ravine, pops up, finds one kill. Someone's watching over him, able to take down Attach, who's sniping the bomb site. Temp tried to get tricky on him. But great 4 versus 5. That should not happen.
So far, a good job from Subliners with the first bloods, but you got to close out those rounds. Temp might have just spotted him. If he's able to react and at least get some shots in to back him up. Priesta just patient here mid-map. Looking for any kind of opening as Temp locks down that B house.
I mean, this is the same setup from FaZe. You're just hoping Abizi doesn't get blooded, right? And he's going to pop dead silence, start to hit towards the back. Simp with the sniper, trying to watch their cross. Major Maniacs hitting towards the A site. What is Atlanta going to do with this setup? Because I think you basically have everything you want. You just got to go into a site.
Another first blood for Subliners, but Major Maniac wins that gunfight over towards A. Again, this time they're going to opt to wrap it back, but Temp has got 2 kills inside of B. Last man standing will be Priesta with bomb in hand. Trying to isolate this one-on-one before the rotation comes. He gets the kill, but there's the snipe just in time. Is this another Subliners win? Yeah, you said it. Similar setup from FaZe on offense, but that's 2 times it's not going to work out. Yeah. Is it something Subliners are doing right, or you need to see a little bit of a change from FaZe?
Well, so basically what Major Maniac's doing, he's trying to catch people rotating off the site, right, and keep people over there, and he's doing a good job. The problem just comes down to the first fight at the B site. Both times is on the way to New York. It's been Abizi who's gotten first blooded, I think, every single round, right? Because he was the guy hitting the flank on their defense as well. So, yeah, if Abizi wins the opening fights at B, it's probably gonna go great for FaZe. It just hasn't happened.
Well, 0-3 for Abizi and being all the first bloods is not the stat line you want. 3 rounds in, that's for sure. Zuma hits the dead silence, tries to fly, but Major Maniac's got the angle and gets the kill. There's still another player with bomb inside its ditch. That'll be Mac. It's trying to work up towards site behind the smoke. Nice shots from Abizi, now on the board. Simp hits the snipe. Attach hits the snipe. 2v4 for Subliners. You're bringing it back, Joe.
Yeah, Major Maniac gets paid. I'm surprised he peeks that. Now Abizi inside broken. Mac doesn't see him in that corner. You still have to get this bomb down. 40 seconds. It takes 5 seconds to plant. Abizi's going to close the door and he's out of here.
Like, just wrap back to your teammates and make sure you can get a trade. Now it's just all on the time. Mac gets a kill, able to somehow finesse the box and get low, but Abizi wall bangs through. That's going to be ball bomb down to 13 seconds left. FaZe are able to hold. They almost throw that away. What, it was a 2v4 at one point. Subliners were trying to pull off. They made it interesting, but just not enough.
Yeah, I mean, for the Atlanta FaZe, their best ally was the clock, right? And Priesta knew it with like 20 seconds. He wanted to check the bomb. He ends up getting caught, but the trades were there. A nice job by FaZe. But yeah, finally a first blood for them. Yeah, gives them a round win.
Two now. Who's leading the way? Major Maniac with 5 for FaZe. He's been finding those opening kills towards A. Subliners, it's been Temp accuracy, yet to get on the board. He had about 6 total gunfights map 1, so no wonder.
No accuracy? Yeah. Going right back to it. It's Abizi once again working the outer part of B. Temps inside. You have middle pressure from Priesta. Again, a slow offense from the Atlanta FaZe trying to set up this B push. Will it finally pay off? Is the 3rd time the charm? They might rotate off of this. Temp has all this information.
The main difference here, though, Major Maniac not working up towards A. He's with him this time. There's the trade, but it's Zuma inside the window that gets the kill and was able to back down. Priesta at mid-map locates a kill as well, though, to make this a 3v3.
Once again, yes, go in here and get the plant. Oh, Simp able to take down Zuma, watching over his teammate. But Mac is here, trying to finesse this bar. Able to find one. The nade is down. Simp flies in. It's a 1 versus 1. Attach for Simp. Attach rotates through. And Attach able to seal the deal and win that round.
So that's what? 3 offensive pushes towards B. All 3 have resulted in Subliners holding and getting the victory. Maybe some improvements there in the sense it comes down to a 1v1, but defensive round wins have been the story thus far.
Yeah, I mean, you're just sort of setting up. What, it was a BZ and Celium that time? Once again, just trying to find the opening. Temp, he just rotated. I think he heard everything. He's able to play a bit of an off angle, find that first blood. Poor Abizi. I mean, we know he's the first guy in, but not the best start, especially on their offensive rounds. They're still into it. Remember, it was a round 11 yesterday between Atlanta FaZe and the London Royal Ravens. They were able to come out on top.
Accuracy looking for any kind of angle as we'll pop out. Look at the mini-map. At 2 and 4 in Celium and Priesta. The help of Abizi at mid's gonna deal with this push. Abizi gets some shots in, some tags in, but Mac tears him down quickly. Now mid-map wide open, and Priesta and Celium know it. The push developing for Subliners.
Major Maniac going on a fast flank, but Priesta's got to try to hold them in. He's immediately going to get traded. That's going to open up the bomb site. You have 1 player in Celium on the outskirt. There's Major Maniac on the flank. Celium got the bomb planter, so 2 versus 2. Now again, it's Simp versus Accuracy. No 1v1.
Is Accuracy still looking for his first kill in this?
Yes, that's to be a big first kill.
It certainly would be. Simp, though, on the hunt. Accuracy should be dead to rights. Dead silence pop for Simp. That's an easy one. The woes for Accuracy continue. The defuse in for Simp, and that'll bring us to 3-3.
Yeah, that was a great job by Atlanta FaZe. I mean, as soon as they they lose Priesta inside the site, they react middle of the map. So they send Major Maniac on that flank, and then I think it was Simp who is working middle alley. So they took down the 2 players who would be the guys watching the bomb if it was planted. But they stopped the plant with Celium. They're able to work the middle of the map. They forced a 1v1. So nice rotations out of the Atlanta FaZe in that defensive round.
Hopefully we get to highlight an offense at some point.
Right.
This map too. Curious to see if now we get a change from FaZe.
You imagine you would, right? But we'll see.
The only big difference is really just Major Maniacs going with it instead of that guy keeping him honest and working up towards A.
I think he was, yeah. I think you're right, but Abizi, he's going to find a free bomb site. So this is a little bit different. I think New York probably thought what we thought, right? Look at A. There's 4 players from New York there.
Surely they're going to change type thing?
Yeah, surely they're going to try A, and they don't. They're maniacs. They go right back to B. There's a first blood on the offensive side. The bomb planted at well. Surely this is going to turn into an offensive win.
Not if Zuma has anything to say as they start to pounce on the retake. Priesta, man playing in sight. Simtex gonna soften him up a bit, but that can't push behind it. Accuracy, again, the struggles continue. The ARs, Subliners get hot. Everybody from Subliners dropping. It's now all on Attach in a 1 versus 4. 10 seconds left on the clock. Nothing that he can do. And there, I thought, it was a collat.
There's something.
It was a collat. I mean, not enough time. Don't do it to him. Oh, it's a hit marker. It's a hit marker. Oh, God. The collat that didn't mean anything, unfortunately, as the round was done.
Looked cool, though.
It did look cool. I didn't think he hit it. I didn't think they lined up when he finally pulled. I was actually about to say he almost hit a collat. And then I looked at the kill feed. I'm like, he did get them both. Unbelievable.
And now, well, FaZe, they go right back to B. New York, listen, if I was the shot caller for New York, I'm thinking, all right, we've stopped them 3 times at B. Let's stack A, just like they did. But Atlanta FaZe, they don't care.
And then on the flip side of this, right to A goes Subliners. 4-man stack here from FaZe. Abizi gets aggressive. There's the first blood, but the insta-trade. Simp slide out and challenge. Nice snap to get the kill. Read it right, but the timing could not have been worse. Only Celium and Priesta left for FaZe.
I wonder if that was going to be like a super fast flank play out of Atlanta, right? I mean, just with how fast the BZ went. Just try to catch them middle of the map as they were going towards B. But it turns into a 2 versus 3. New York can take their time now, play their numbers. Priesta, though, he doesn't care. He's going to use his dead silence. Does get caught by Mac. That's great awareness from him. We saw what Priesta was able to do with that timing a few rounds ago in the retake.
Yes, one of them must have jump spotted him. I thought for a second he was going to get in and find a kill or two.
It was close. I'm sure, you know, just a millisecond away from that turning into 2 kills. Celium now in a 1v3 gets taken down. And New York tie things up 4-4.
Yeah, right. So finally you get an offensive round for FaZe. Subliners do the same.
You get a kill for accuracy. Let's go.
Here we go. Here we go.
Sometimes, man, the first one is just the hardest to find. Yep.
Seemingly going the distance now. Oh, he's got 2. He's got 2.
Oh, yeah. We must have missed one last round.
Three players
Okay,
on
now
defense
finally.
today.
Yeah. Finally, Atlanta goes towards A.
Oh!
It's like nothing ever happened.
Yep, almost a Semtex in his own forehead, but able to dip around the corner.
And you see with like all the B presence that they've put, how honest this is keeping New York. You still have 2 players over there, one inside and one on the outer outskirt. Attached though with a nice snipe on Abizi.
Abizi's been first blooded. What's like 6 of his 8 deaths? I mean, not quite,
Yeah.
but it's been so many.
It's something like that. Yeah, I mean it's probably 5 or 6. Yeah. And now what do? You're in this situation again with 30 seconds. Someone's going to have to make a play. This time it's Priesta, uses dead silence, goes up the middle, attach, gets another freebie. Yeah, just keep
Let's slow
peeking
peek
the
him.
corner,
Yeah.
please.
You literally
Yeah,
could
just
not
keep doing it.
Could not peek it any slower.
Priesta find the opening now. He's able to find the second one. They still haven't been able to hunt him. That'll open up the bomb site as well.
Not if Tim Pazal, he runs out of bullets. Can't stop the plant. We almost saw the cheeky spot again through the fence. Priesta with another kill as he continues to pick apart the Subliners defense. Simped in through ditch, finds the kill. Timp now last one up at a 1v3. Can Timp get the clutch? There's the first. 25 seconds to work with.
Spotted Priesta.
I was going to say, surely that doesn't work. As he doesn't know the second is right on bomb.
He heard Celium. Yeah, he hears Celium, and that's about it. Yeah. I mean, to me, that round just comes down. Obviously, Priesta making, what, 3 kills to open up the site. But for New York, what do we typically see? Someone inside the B bomb site wrap back and watch the middle alley, right? Like that's typically what we see defensively when you know that they're going towards that A site, but we didn't see that. And I think that's because Atlanta has been going B so often. So that small rotation from that B site towards middle was wide open for Priesta. He finds the opening. He finds 3 kills.
Yeah, and it negates all the sniping that Attach does. He's 10-4 right now. Granted, there's a collateral in the mix that didn't do much, but still, statistically, having a great map, too. Subliners have got to take this round to get us to a final round 11. Priesta, though,
another daddy push. Another daddy push. Maybe he can find Attach. Attach is all the way back there. Well, that's done to him.
We've seen some interesting grenades in the last couple of rounds. Priesta, 5 in a row for him. 4v3 advantage now for FaZe to close this out.
Now he has help.
Sim's pistol shot on point. Zuma and Mac on them to clutch. And they've got to worry about both sides of this.
Yeah, these last 2 rounds have just all been due to Priesta and his play. Now a 1 versus 2 for Zuma. Doesn't have bomb, though. And that's what you need to win offensively, is you need the bomb planted.
Not able to do it. That's a Game 2 Atlanta FaZe win. That'll tie up the series at 1-1. Priesta took over the game in the late rounds at round 9 and 10. On the other side is slow map for accuracy. But it felt like a winnable search for Subliners. They are playing FaZe very tough.
Absolutely. I mean, it was just a couple of rounds where you have first blood, and I think probably the best thing to do is just get together, right? What did we see Seattle do so many times yesterday, right? Just they would almost give up the bomb sites after their first blood and just sort of 4v5 retake. Right there for New York, they had a couple of openings. Priesta found the openings. He had 6 kills the last 2 rounds. So I mean, he went from 5-7 to 11-7 just in the final 2.
Yeah, no, that was a huge performance from him, but I think partially maybe a blunder from the Subliners as well. But FaZe, we know they're not. That's why they're gonna be so tough to beat most of the time. They're just not really weak in any mode, right? Like, even if they drop the hard point, you're not too worried because they can be strong in search and destroy and also the domination. But as we're tied up 1-1 in this best of 5, we've got a lot of matches to go. This is just our second best of 5 and 6 matches today for day 2 of the Chicago home series. Coming up next, it'll be the domination after this quick break.
Call of Duty League is brought to you by Metro by T-Mobile. Stay connected to what matters most with the best value in wireless.
you hungry?
Yes.
Hungry.
Yes, I am.
Actually very, very hungry. You know what, Phil? It's not a bad time to take a quick break, to maybe nip to the kitchen, grab yourself a beverage, hydrate, maybe get yourself something to eat. Use that.
It is. So
No, look at it all. So
yeah,
this
this
is
wild.
I showed you the baby ring light. Look at the size of this one.
Oh, I know. It's literally.
This thing.
Yeah, it is draining my soul.
Look at the size of this thing. It's huge.
Did you just pick up your ring light?
Yeah, it's massive, man. that thing, it's like a tanning bed. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be tan once this is done. Oh, I think I put it the wrong way.
Yeah. Dude, look at that.
It's huge, Joe. For our final match. But the longer these ring lights are on and we are on camera, the hotter it gets. And I start removing pieces of clothing. Like, Joe, I've got both socks here. It's getting too hot in here. Like, it gets so warm. Well, there you saw some highlights of when Joe and I lost our minds the one night. That was 2 weeks ago. I showed my socks on stream, the ring light. I think it was about midnight my time, 1 a.m. your time. It was a 12-hour day.
I was going through it.
It was an interesting one, but we have a lot of fun with these online events. And all right, let's get right back to this best of 5. So we're tied up 1-1. Subliners playing FaZe very, very tough. I think this is the first time we've really felt FaZe have been severely tested 2 maps in of anything outside of like a series versus Rocker.
Yeah, I just think too, like for New York, that's one of those maps you're gonna go back and watch and just see how close you actually were to winning it, right? I mean, it was a couple of incredible individual plays from Priesta that was the difference maker.
Well, let's take a look at the U.S. Army tactical play, and I believe it's the 1v1 where Simp is able to clutch up. I mean, it's purely a dead silence play, right? Like, he gets the timing, pops dead silence, able to come up behind accuracy. Accuracy is, I think, just kind of hoping, playing the 50-50, hoping he doesn't have dead silence, hoping he's able to hear him when he pushes towards B. That's not the case, and Simp is able to get the clutch, and we know it was a very, very slow start for accuracy. I think he was somewhere around 0-6 at this point in the game. Just couldn't get anything going, and really offensively, they struggled for the most part.
Yeah, it was. I mean, a big 1v1 by Simp, right, ties the game up at 3-3, but you sort of nailed it. I mean, it just comes down to the fact that he has dead silence. He probably hears accuracy in the back end, and that was it. That was a big round for Atlanta FaZe, but Game 3 is underway. And remember, Hack DR domination. This was one of Atlanta FaZe's first map losses the entire year. One of their only few.
It was their first map loss, right? It was their very first map loss, all the way back in Minnesota. Our only, like, kind of event that wasn't a tournament style, right? Just everyone played kind of 2 league matches, and no one expected Subliners to take a map off them, but they were able to do it. Granted, it's so long ago, I don't know how much bearing that has on this, but what has a big bearing is how much it seems that Subliners have improved. But it will be Subliners with a strong spawn to kick it off. They'll be on that A side of the map. Temp's gun up mid-map for the first kill, but doesn't make it long after that as Priesta for FaZe now tries to flood into the blue van, get an opening on B. Well, it's not Priesta that does it. It's a Beezy doing the dirty work in front. That's a lovely triple from him.
And that was one of the very few times I was not looking at the minimap, so I have no idea where a BZ just came from. I'm imagining somewhere through middle, or, you know, he hops up, but he's able to find 3. He finds the opening. He goes immediately towards A. New York will capture C, but we know this could be a big risk early on. You have to make sure you hold on to A, and I do not think they are going to be able to do it. This is exactly what Atlanta FaZe wants. They want that A side spawn. Attach trying to neutral the B flag. He's able to get that stick on the Priesta. Max right behind him. But man, that was a bit of a not great situation for the New York Subliners. We'll see if they can bounce back from it.
Look at FaZe spawning all the way out, kind of between B and C, back towards yellow, as they'll now wrap back in. We might have another flip coming in. A day control will go to Subliners, as FaZe will all over the map with that spawn. They'll win it for B, but that'll be it. Now you have to make up your mind what you want to hit. Obviously, you want A control, but you know they're there. Number 6, the Major Maniac spawns all the way out towards C.
Yeah, so New York, they do a wonderful job getting A right back. Now they have this AC holding. Yeah, what's the play going to be? One player will get through towards A, but attach and accuracy are there.
It's a great job from New York, despite the opening from FaZe and the early flip. Subliners get back in control. Let's go to an Astro Gaming listen-in with New York Subliners.
Bottom brick, and fork. Go left, fork. Go left, major brick already, though. And close. Major's green crate. I got the
Oh,
other
you
one.
got
I
it.
got the other one.
At the truck, get a simp. Truck, get a simp.
I got him. I got the guy there.
Nice, they be.
Major's gonna be clapping. Our door B.
They just tapped
I
out.
got him.
Top out, Major. Back up A.
I spawn green.
Someone help me. Major's top L. I'm coming.
I have B.
I'm jumping top BC, guys.
Top L looking for me, Major.
He spawned green at me.
I'm troping low.
Top L dead.
Respawn
C.
Green side dead.
My right, I score. Hold my right.
Don't get
Square.
over. I'm backing up, bro. I'm backing up.
Okay, it's fine. I'm going low L.
Alright, we're good.
Everything right.
They're
Yeah,
back to top
yeah,
BC. I
I got bottom.
Of the cross yellow.
There's two back, two crossing left.
I'm
One's
flash
going
top
top
L.
yellow. One's going top. He's already
I'm
I'm
green
going
or
up green.
something.
I'm going mid. I'm
Playing
going
low
mid.
I'm flash top L. I gave
Give
up
it up,
top L.
right, give it up, right.
Square weak.
I'm helping you mid. I'm helping you mid. I'm filling you
Only
mid.
looking top L, guys.
Square dead. No one
One
top
top
green.
out of mid.
Right is
Top
open.
out of mid.
He's top green, top green. He's mid green, mid two. Top green to mid green.
Top L to mid. I'm only
Came out
my AC
top
hop.
L. I gave up top L. One more top L.
Top green to mid. Top green with mid.
Yeah, they're running over mid.
Top
I don't
L.
see him
Top
mid.
L.
Our crate, guys.
Two and
Going
B.
A, going
Two and
A,
B.
Going A, they're going A.
Two and B.
I spawned C.
Two and A.
Guys, play 2
They save B. Chalk A, save B.
Yeah, chalk
Sit
it,
and
chalk
see,
it.
sit and see,
Nice,
sit
go
I got
for
another
Chalk
one,
A. Go for B. Chalk A. Let me 2 on you.
Coming,
B.
coming,
Go
coming,
top
coming,
L.
coming.
Oh, you got top L. Go ahead. You had
I'll
it.
top L.
Nice, good job.
I got the
Good
cap.
job,
I got the cap. I
guys.
got the cap.
Mine
guys.
close. I'm
Mac
back.
I'm gonna
with
jump
the
for
three
cup.
views
Guys,
coming out of
They
that.
can
When
push
it
back
comes
now.
to defense, and they were on point for the Subliners as they've got a huge lead here, Joe.
I loved what I was hearing, especially from Temp right near the end. He's like, hey, let's just give up A. Give up A. Let's get B. We'll hold this lead. We have a lead already. We can hold the 2 cap. Let's keep it growing, like you said. Now up to 30 points. And New York Subliners, they are just on point in their respawns. Here comes the Atlanta FaZe, though, with a nice push towards B as they're able to find 2 kills. 3 are going to swarm towards that B flag.
If they can hold it, I feel like FaZe have got to hold a 2 cap over the final minute or so to really get back into this heading into the second half, but they haven't found any luck at B. Pushing through to C for a second was Simp. Looks like he's going to wrap back and attempt to help them at B, but as he wraps back, it's Zuma that's going to catch him. Now there's the 2 cap control for FaZe. Can they hold it for the final minute and make this first half a little bit more respectable?
Taking a quick look at the stats. Abizi's having a great game, selling him as well, but you need the other 3 to step up. On the other side, the entire team playing well for New York. And this is almost like one of those situations, it seems, with 30 seconds left. They just don't want to give up a neutral. You see the way New York is playing around C right now. They're like, let's just hold on to, it'll probably be about a 22-point lead going into that second half when this 30 seconds are up. But they are just protecting C. They do not want to give up a neutral right now. They want to keep this lead. It was... You know, it was tough to earn it all. They don't want it to go away.
You know, 100%. Very rarely do you see like 5 players stacked up around docks, just trying to hold on to one flag.
Please.
Yeah,
It's our home getaway.
That was, we did a great job. Let's just hold whatever lead we can, and it's going to be a big lead at that.
I mean, what it'll be about? It's 20 points, right? 20 points in for Atlanta FaZe. Well, you're spawning on that A side, so you're in an okay position. It could have been much worse.
They did exactly what I said. I felt like they had to have a 2 cap for that final minute. They had to. If not, I mean, they were going to be down, what, 40? If they're down 40 going into the second half, you're more than likely losing this game. But 20, certainly more attainable. I mean, what is it you always say? Your number's usually around 30 points where you feel you've got that's where the realistic comeback chances sort of end.
Yeah, I'd say it's probably like 35. Yeah, I think 30 is doable, but that's a great half. Heck, even a 20-point lead like we just saw from New York. But what that shows me is that New York is so confident in their ability to break A. I mean, we saw it a few times. They were able to do it. As off the break, 2 players go bottom L. Priesta, he hits him with a quick flank. He's just so sneaky, so tough to deal with, and it's going to turn into an AB hold so far for Atlanta FaZe.
Yeah, that flank was massive, right? Like, all the eyes on B site. But then right after that, 4 kills in a row for Subliners, and they burst on through. It's that 2 cap control for FaZe.
Okay.
Enjoyed for but a moment.
No, they're still enjoying it. Dewey to Priesta's double nade through the window, so they still have AB, and it's Priesta again.
I think that right there is an example of why you prefer AB, right? Like the nades through that window can 100% bail you out. I mean, when you looked at the minimap and those 4 kills came in, I mean, I said it. I was like, oh, that's that. They've lost it. But the Simtex is through the window, bail them out of a tough spot, and then quickly they're just right back in control, and the lead has already dwindled to 12.
Right, it seems like things settle. This is when it gets tough to break these setups. Like, look at the map control. You have Simp, who just found 3 kills. He's working that smokestack kill that we know. And where does New York go from here? That's the question. Simp is on a 5 spree. He's got some help, and now look at the spawns for New York. Simp says, hey, I'm going to go neutral this. We know we have them spawning at that courtyard, and he's out of there. What a start to this half for the Atlanta FaZe. Simp is well starting to heat up.
Well, you did your job when 3 or 4 players have to wrap back to deal with the home flag. Excellent stuff from FaZe, and look at where they are on the map. All the way pushed up the front yellow, all the way basically outside of office, close to smokestack and dockside. Major Maniac, the movement on point, but can't quite get the kill. It's a lead now for FaZe. How far can they push this? It has been dominant in this half.
This is what they did yesterday as well. I mean, London Royal Ravens pushed them to the limit on this map, but it was a second half comeback by the Atlanta FaZe. They just do not care about your leads. They will take it right away from you.
About to say,
that's going to be 4 dead.
I don't know if 35, 40 points matter.
Yeah, I don't really think they care.
Since they've had a 2-cap since what? The opening 10 seconds of this round, plus the neutral, they have just dominated. Simp just looking for any kind of push towards top L. He's got some help from Priesta as well. In behind enemy lines will be Major Maniac. Patrolling mid-map is a BZ as well. Subliners are getting spat on right now. FaZe just putting it to them. And all those guys that you said needed to step up and turn it around basically has happened. It was just really, what, a BZ early? Needed help from just about everybody else. Everyone's turned it around.
And I won't lie to you, Clint. Major Maniac and a BZ, they spawned C flag. That's how they got behind them. So I have no idea how that happened, but they spawned C flag.
Okay, well.
So when they had AB, I'm not exactly sure why. I'll just chalk that one up, but yeah, New York had 2 kills down, and then those 2 players spawned right behind them. So that helped them deal with that push. I was so confused. I was like, wait a second. Why did that happen?
I was taking a look at the stats and just glanced at the minimap. I'm like, oh, they're going to be able to flank him. Oh, that makes a lot more sense, Joe. Thanks for that.
Yeah, no, they were gifted the flank. They wrapped that one up as a present.
Only a minute 20 to go. The 20-point lead at half for the Subliners, now a 20-point lead for FaZe. But I do think this has been a good example of a half for a couple of things. You got a really good view at why AB is so preferred with that grenade through to kind of save this half early in it. And then you also saw why like a 40-point deficit would be so hard to overcome, because FaZe have literally had a 2-cap or better this entire half. And it's what, a 50-point swing? And it's been, I mean, that's about as flawless a half as you're going to get, right?
Yeah, and to me, it's just sort of like, I loved the confidence that New York was playing with in the first half. It felt like they were playing with a swagger, and I think them just sort of huddling up around C showed like they were worried about this second half, right? They wanted to keep as much of a lead as they could going into it because they knew it was going to be a tough half.
Well, what did we always say?
So
like,
yeah,
back in, or whether it was like CTF or whether it was Dom, like back in Ghost, like never turtle, right? Like never turtle. They can end up punishing you. And I don't know if it would have made a difference if they.
It may not have made a difference, but I'm just telling, like, that showed you like what New York was almost prepping for, was in a situation where that 20-25 point lead might have been the difference, but it's not. That 20-25 point lead flips on its head. It ends up being a 40-point win for the Atlanta FaZe and one of the more dominant halves of domination I think I've watched all year.
That was a 59-point swing.
Yeah.
And a half of domination. You just don't.
59 points. That's 5 minutes with a 2-cap the entire time. Obviously, there was a neutral in there because that would be impossible to have a 2-cap for all 5 minutes. But yeah, it just shows you the control that they had.
That was unbelievable. And leading the way, I mean, even when they were down early, it was a BZ. He had the hot start. He finishes at 30 and 15. His nade was the big one too, because when stuff could have gotten a little bit crazy and maybe control could have flipped for Subliners, about a minute into that half, a BZ Simtex is through the window. They keep them safe. It clears out everybody at B, and they're able to hold on. And a big win for FaZe, considering how that first half went. And they'll now take a 2-1 lead in this series. So far, FaZe take the search and destroy. It's a split in the respawns, but map 4, we'll get back to hardpoint and see if Subliners have what it takes to get us to a map 5. Before we get to the map 5, though, we'll take a look at some of the stats we were highlighting from the domination.
Yeah, I mean, I guess on the other side for New York, right? The two players that we really talked about in map 1, Mac and Zuma, slowed down a little bit in the respawns. So you need those two guys to get back into the zone as we go to St. Petrograd. I'm just trying to take a look at both. So for New York, you're 1-1 on this, and for Atlanta, your previous matchups, you are 4-0 on this map. So
yeah, you didn't get the regular.
obviously they don't have a lot of losses, but they were undefeated on Arklov. They're undefeated on this.
Yeah, no, it's true. But you didn't get like that Simp and a BZ type performance map one, right? Here you do. You thought it was probably a matter of time before they kind of turned around and became the Tiny Tears, the beast that we expect them to be, as they're able to pick it up massively. But that is, I'm trying to take a look at the stat on my other monitor. Is that the second biggest loss, 65 points in New York, hacking down on launch weekend?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So FaZe lost game 1. So okay, so that's focusing on the hard point. Okay.
Oh.
Hard point and Dom, 2 different game modes.
Yes, that's what I was confused about first. I was like, the Dom. I was like, what? They.
It was a very confusing stat,
Okay,
but it's fine.
now-
We figured it out.
That's what I do on my face. I literally was just staring at my television, like, what? Okay, that makes sense. All right, so we're talking about the hard points. Yeah, I just. Is all of your focus as we go into this? Is it basically that kind of attach and Mac combo versus BZ and Simp?
Yeah, we'll see if the Tiny Terrors are. I mean, they're obviously playing a lot better, and Priest as well really stepped up in that game 2 to tie the series up. So now you go to the Petro, and what was the plays that we saw on this map, right? Celium Kid, we know he can do so much on it. It just feels like this is such a good map for the Atlanta FaZe. It's their hard point pick. It's going to be difficult for New York to get over this hump.
We'll take a look at the player webcams as they're getting ready to go. The slow start for FaZe seems to be completely turned around. We kind of mentioned that they had a scrim scheduled right before this. A team no-showed on them, and I don't know what they were able to get going into it. And, you still expect a team of their caliber to be able to perform regardless, but could be a testament to why they started a little bit slow.
Well, listen, let's talk about it, right? Obviously, they're warmed up. They're playing bots. They're playing against each other.
Yeah.
I think what a scrim does, it sort of gets you in the game mode, right? It just get your comms on point. You do have to warm those up, right? It just gets you in that zone where warming up against bots and each other just doesn't. So that's why that scrim helps.
What team was it last year? I can't remember who was in the interview. It might have been Nagafin or Havoc, or it was one of those guys, I believe, that talked about the fact that the most difficult part's not getting the guns warm up, it's warming up the comms, and that's why they would struggle so much in the map 1. I think that was Gen G that talked about it, I believe. I could be completely.
Yeah, it's just about bringing that intensity too, right? Just to the. I mean, if those comms aren't warmed up going into that first map, it's just sort of maybe takes a minute for it to click. Like, oh, hey, we're on the main stage, right? Let's go. Let's sort of wake on up.
Yeah, it might be even harder to do, now that you're playing from your bedroom, right? Versus actually being on the main stage where maybe the adrenaline doesn't quite get going at the same pace just due to that sort of change of scenery. But let's take a look at the updated bracket and kind of take you through how the day is going to go. As I mentioned, we have a ton of matches to come. We had 4 yesterday, 6 today, 3 tomorrow, and we're only in our second best of 5 covering all the day's action. So we're going to be with you all day today. If you enjoy some Call of Duty esports, it should be an incredible one. This is one of our, I think, best matchups of the day, but we still have a lot of crazy ones to come. I think that Royal Ravens versus Huntsmen match can be sensational. We'll see OpTic versus Guerrillas later on today and see if either of those teams can bounce back. But yeah, this is gonna be a fun-filled day, Joe.
Yeah, I think you just sort of took a look at Group B. You saw Empire. They were able to deal with it, but here's the rest of that schedule. So after this, you'll have LA Guerrillas versus Los Angeles OpTic, the LA rivalry. And then after that, Chicago versus London. And I'm excited for that because, I mean, London, they had a very tough 3-0 versus the Atlanta FaZe. Like, they played a lot of those maps well. And I think I was looking at the stats. Dylan and Jerd did not perform at the level that we expected those two. So maybe those two can step up. And for Chicago, I mean, the pressure's on now, right? This is your home series. Yeah, you lose to New York, and we expect this team to win multiple titles. We expect them to get into the semifinals, and there's a chance now they might not get out of group.
Yeah, and you kind of mentioned Dylan too, and I know I said yesterday that I kind of surprised her. I said TJ has been one of the more disappointing players for me this year.
He's definitely
Dylan.
up there.
Dylan might be number 1. I mean, and I know we have a small body of work from him because it's really just last year, right, where he burst onto the scene. But he was so. He
was a hard carry.
He was so good. He was so good. And I think when this game was first announced and we thought it was going to be a little bit slower pace, that I thought, all right, this might not play to his suits like it did Black Ops 4. But then once we saw how this game was actually played, it might have been even more twisted than Black Ops 4, and like how fast it plays because of the close spawns and the movement and the double sprint. Like I guess once I saw how the game actually played, I'm like, oh, this should be very good for Dylan as well. But it hasn't quite clicked like that for him.
No, it hasn't, but I believe we have a recap video from yesterday that we're going to check it out. So let's go ahead and take a look.
Let's see this again.
Little bunny hop at the end, too.
Wait, what?
Bottom B. FaZe have got to go, and they have to go now. They're committing to this one. Simp sniping mid. Matt cutting down his teammates in mid. It's a 1 versus 2. With Scumpy now with the bomb in hand. And not a chance. I'm not even sure if that was a grenade. I think it was the concussion or the flash that killed him. Phil?
Don't know that car. I think we're going to see it right here.
It was a flash!
It was a flash grenade from Mac. He sneaks on in. He's already on top. The Subliners are spawning right by them.
Ivory tower he has. He'll rain down upon them. Mac now come back off spawn. Temp, he's about to get cut down as well. And Arsenes, he jumps. He finds one with a hip fire. And that's going to be a great set of kills. He's going to lock down the hard point with his 8th kill in a row. And now the Huntsmen are still rocking and rolling on point. Better make it 9. There's a 10th around the corner if Mac feels brave enough, and he does feel brave.
Simp finds a triple, Abizi finds one, and Dylan the only one to answer back here for the London Royal Ravens, but they're being outslayed heavily. Jerd, -10. We see Dylan as well, down by 8. Shawnee down by 3. The slaying is certainly in the hands of Simp.
Surge still alive. Decimate looking for the opening, but not able to find it. Surge lock it down, and Surge
Slack's
going
able to
for
push
the
out.
throat. Slack goes huge, as that's now 4 in a row, and that is a Surge map 1 win.
He cut his kill. They're trying to fit these in now. But gosh, no, dude, that was the 1v1 he needed to win. Wait. Formal pushes his way forward. The timing! Oh my word, the timing! 10 seconds, 10 seconds, Formal. Last player left alive. Temp! Temp! The timing! Is this the final round? Yes. He and Arsty's now trying to break the bomb on the side. Temp, the first line of defense. The first shot's there. Unbelievable shots from Donny Temp.
Well, there you saw a recap of some of the crazy moments from yesterday. We expect the insanity to continue today with some of the matchups that we have going. We're not quite ready to get into the map 4 yet. If you're just joining us, FaZe Clan are up 2-1 and looking to close out this series, but Subliners have played them very, very tough outside of the second half of that Dom. Really, that was the only part of that that's been really lopsided, but I think we're just waiting for the guys to get ready, server to get ready, everyone to get in, and then we'll get into it. Just not quite there yet.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we've been flying through these games. So, yeah, our first little, we're just waiting for the players to get ready up. But, yeah, I mean, St. Petrograd, Hardpoint, and then St. Petrograd, Search and Destroy to finish us out. So, we're going to be on Petro for the final 2 maps if we go to a game
That
5.
has been the biggest improvement of this event versus 2 weeks ago, right? Just getting kind of map to map for the most part. It's been a whole lot smoother. Players have been getting to the server very quickly, and hopefully it's been a lot better for you guys from an action perspective. But, Joe, what are your predictions here for map 4 to FaZe close it out?
I think so. It feels like, yeah, they're warmed up. I mean, again, a BZ 30, Simp 27 in that map 3. We just talked about how strong their St. Petrograd is. I mean, they're undefeated on this map. Nobody's been able to beat them. Do I think that you can do it? Absolutely, but I think it ends here 3-1.
All right, well, FaZe look to close it out. Subliners look to get us to a map 5. Before we get there, though, and kick off the Petro hardpoint, we're going to head to a quick break.
about you, Chance? You got the tough task of defending the New York Subliners here and Mac Melts. What do you think?
I don't think it's a tough task to defend that take at all. I also think it's very weird to say that that's a team that needed to make, 2 or 3 people to have like the full-on roster swap, because I don't know who you really look at to drop, because you got like a world champ on this team. You have some great players, a ton of tournament wins on the Subliners, and I think the Florida comparison is the best one you can make, because when you look on paper, the trade didn't make much sense, right? Bersini, speed demon, world champion. Farrell, a lot slower for the team. Wasn't expecting that to be the right calibration. Boom, they win a championship, and one of the biggest turnarounds is just the vibe of the team. It was just feeling better for them to play with Farrell. And now you look at New York, who dropped 0 because of communicate. The vibe wasn't there. They weren't feeling great with 0, because we know 0 is not a bad player. 0 is one of the best European players of all time. So I will not say that Mac Melt's outright is better player than 0. That's an absurd statement. But if he helps fix the vibe of the team, it doesn't have to be an on-paper switch that makes perfect sense right away. It's going to help the vibe. It's going to give them a lot more speed on the map and just try to reinvigorate that team to get back to the grind, because everything I've heard from the little whispers around the league from coaches is that he has genuinely made this team quite a bit better. The biggest question is whether or not that's actually going to translate to when you get to that tournament setting. So I think, yes, that is going to help turn the team around. Whether or not they make it out of groups, whether or not they even win a series, as long as they are hyper competitive and play toe-to-toe with the best teams in the world, I think Mac Meltz will have said, job done, and they can move on to the future. Well, he will help turn the team around.
Well, you hear Chance defend the Subliners and their ability to rebound and bounce back, and so far it looks like the potential is there, but can they do it in this best of 5? Can they get us to a map 5? Can they maybe take this series? What a turnaround it would be if they go win-win and get to a semifinal, Joe, a position they haven't even really been close to seeing so far, but what seemed impossible now certainly seems possible.
Well, let's just talk about it, right? Because, I mean, say they lose this match, then they're going to have to go play the winner of London, Chicago. There's still a chance they don't get out of this group,
100%.
but I think that they've showed us that they can compete. This is a very tough group, right? We expected Atlanta and Chicago to come out of it, 2 of the best teams in the world. Just what they've seen throughout this year. I mean, if New York get out of a semi, then I'm all in, right? But they've shown improvements already, and I'm pretty happy to see Mac on this squad.
Is it similar to how you felt kind of maybe in LA for OpTic? Like you weren't convinced, but you saw life and knew they could compete now?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I don't know if they can win, but I know that they can, take Atlanta FaZe to, to the end of a series.
Which is the first step, right? Like you got to improve somewhere.
Confidence.
You don't go from
confidence.
like 0 CDL points to winning events. Typically, that's not how it works unless there's some sort of massive trade that goes down. But improvement is improvement. I got to think, former commentator and one of my buds in Revan has to be feeling a little bit better. It's probably been very stressful for him. And, we used to work with JP. He kind of worked with the CWL back in the day on the stat side. He's with them as well. So we're close to a lot of the people more on the administrative side, maybe for this Subliners team that have to be feeling a hell of a lot better.
Yeah, you would think so. I mean, they probably just want them. They probably won't feel that great until they start winning multiple matches in a row. But I'm sure it's good for them to see some of their hard work starting to pay off, and that's just what it comes down to.
All right, but I believe we are ready to hop into map 4, just waiting to get loaded on in. Mac looks like he's maybe ready to take a nap. He is chilling right now. That posture is not gonna. You got to get the posture straight up, Joe. I stopped leaning. Sure. My back and neck have felt incredible. I got the Herman Miller. I'm just, my spine is just perfect, Joe. Straight up, straight down. Yeah, no,
I'm proud of you. I really am, because your gaming posture was horrible.
Woo, it's so much better. I'm not leaning forward, not hurting my elbows and knees. Just great posture. I now don't have fear of osteoporosis at 35 years old. I don't even think that's the correct thing I want to say.
I have no idea. That's why I didn't say it, honestly, because I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that's what that is. Yeah, but which is you still have a chance of. So
I do. Gotta start going to the doctor every 3 months or something. But I think, unfortunately, I just got an update from our producer that I believe one of the players, maybe Major Maniac, is having some issues. I'm not sure if it's just server side where he's experiencing some problems, but we're just waiting to get in as quickly as we can. Thank you guys for being patient. I know these delays are tough, and you just want to see 2 of your favorite teams compete, but just a brief delay until we get there. Hopefully, it won't be much longer, and we'll get right into it. All right, well, I'm here, and while we wait for this, we did do a video piece on the Atlanta FaZe, a profile piece on this dominant squad. Let's take a look.
Atlanta is the terrifying roster of Simp, Abizi, Celium, Priest, and Major Maniac.
These guys are incredible to watch. It's the most fun I've had just watching a team dismantle and obliterate the competition in a long time.
Atlanta have turned this game tree completely around.
One of the favorite things I heard from the start of the year was Scum saying when we play against FaZe, it's like there's 6 men on the map. They're that fast, they're that in your face.
These guys are the most perfectly controlled chaos.
Atlanta FaZe starting to rip their way across the map.
For me, Simp is the best Call of Duty player that walks on this earth right now. And he's only really been competing for about a year, and he's already kind of won it all.
It's hard not to see Simp as the MVP. But for me, I want to give it to Major Maniac because the glue that holds that entire roster together. He may not have the most engagements, but without that man on the map, that team don't win.
Opens this one up real fast. He finds 2. That's ridiculous work from FaZe.
Any one of those 5 players at any moment in the game can turn it on and ruin your day.
It's not just that they're skilled, they're better than everyone. They understand the game better than everyone too.
It's almost comical. You're watching these guys and you're laughing and you're thinking, how do they do it?
It could be another crazy game. You're absolutely flawless.
That is your Atlanta FaZe profile presented by PlayStation, one of the top teams in the game, looking to further cement that. If they can be the first squad to go back-to-back, well, not back-to-back, but get the second win this year, as we've had 4 home series events, 4 different winners. With how Chicago have looked, I think you have to think FaZe are clearly the favorite this weekend. Maybe right behind them is Empire.
Yeah, one of those 3, right? I think that's what everybody's thinking. Maybe another team can slip in there, a team like New York, but they still have some work to do. But yeah, I think for most people, Atlanta FaZe is the favorite for the weekend.
I think we are good. I think we're hopping into the map, so it's going to be Petro, Hardpoint, and Joe. I know we had a bit of a downtime there, but why did you like this so much for FaZe?
They're undefeated on this map.
That's a good one.
I believe they're 4 or 5-0 on this map, and I feel like we've just had so many great individual plays for those guys. But yeah, I mean, like we talked about, they're not going to have many map losses.
Nice opening from Subliners, at least to find the early kills and get into the point. Tip and Max started off. Simp, though, answers the call as he has a nice double and looks for the entry. Still all the time, though, going the way of Subliners. Attached, tucked away behind the God box, looking to make the play. Priestasaur is in. Unfortunately, Abizi already hit a Simtech towards that back corner, and that'll be a team kill for FaZe. Subliners hold on, and this is just a great bit of time. FaZe already thinking about maybe the rotation. We're going to hop over to Major Maniac, and this is part of the reason we think we saw that change, right? We talked to Crowder a little bit about it. Like, there's this swap between main AR and Flex, and Major Maniac felt, I think, a little bit more comfortable being that route man. I mean, how many times do we say that?
I mean, just look at where he is right now, right? Like, he wouldn't be able to challenge these gunfights with an AR. So, like, you want your man rotating to have a sub, and it looks like he will flip. His Celium spawns right next to him. So, a great job by New York to find those 40 seconds. But Major Maniac with a response to get to these spawns as you rotate towards Cafe. But yeah, there's just so many of those, you know, interior fights that you need that MP5.
He did a solid job there. As FaZe will now have the early setup. How much time can they put through? Mac tries to get in, not able to do it. As Celium still locks down this cross. Kind of a 2-2
yeah, there's
split
another
of the
reason
defense.
why. There's another reason why they also did that switch. They feel like this guy's the best AR in the world, right? I mean, and he's showing it why. I mean, he's on a 5-spear right now, just winning some ridiculous gunfights. The guy sometimes just doesn't miss.
Yeah, I'm sure Celium was a big fan of the change.
Yeah.
He's looked so strong with that in his hand. Now, the hero of the map 3, well, sorry, the map 2 was Priesta. That solid map 3, but he was really the one that kind of bailed him out of the search and destroy. He's 0-5 to kick this off, and it's a 40-point lead for Subliners as a result. 9-2 on a 4 spree is Temp, so we'll get right over to his POV as he works to get inside to Hazmat. 2 players already working around the back now for FaZe. The pinch attack is there with Priesta on the other end of it. Can Subliners hold strong? They at least have the back spawn.
Yeah, it's a big win by Zoomer right there on the Major Maniac as well. Accuracy, and I find another one. You said it. They have the back spawns. They have the post ones so they can flood on through. And you need this time because as we rotate over to pool hall, you get stuck back here. That's a lot of time wasted as soon as we get there. But it looks like Temp already on the rotation. Look at number 3 on your mini-map. He started rotating with 40 seconds left. He's already inside a pool hall. A great heads-up play out of Temp.
Yeah, someone's been watching Envoy. We've highlighted this since what feels like 3-4 events ago. On this map, he would really rotate so much early in the title. It would lead to so much time for Huntsmen. Now Huntsmen just forgot how to play hardpoint, but there was a time where it looked good. A massive lead now for Subliners. Now, will this early rotation from Temp pay off? Look how far pushed out the rest of them are going to be. The rest are out towards mid-map. All 3 will drop. So the first step now down from FaZe to apply pressure, but by getting that early rotation, holding down mid-map, you kind of give yourself an extra wave to work with.
Yeah, I mean, they just got here, right, with 40 seconds left. They haven't even gotten on the hill. This is all due to Temp and his play. Now Simp trying to get inside. BZ's going to be the first one through. Accuracy locking down middle of the road with the M4. There's 3. Major Maniac was going to be number 4. Mac, Zuma, Mac. They are all picking up these multi-kills, locking it down. And this is one of the more ridiculous score lines we have ever seen in hardpoint this year.
Yeah, I mean, Temp's 9-3, Attaches 9-4. Like
they're just out rotating. That's all it is. They're out rotating them.
We're deep into this, and they just barely have any deaths. Yeah, it's pretty easy to play this game when you have the early rotation on just about every single hardpoint. FaZe have 29 points. It's dominant effort as they had in the second half of that dom, and then to start out like this on map 4, on a map that they're undefeated. What the hell's going on?
Well, I mean, you just think about this as well. 20 of those 29 points that they had all probably came in Cafe, right? When they were able to break due to Major Maniac when he won that rotation. So since that point, they've maybe gotten a few points sprinkled in here or there. And there we go. 5 are going to go down. New York, they're going to break inside a restaurant. They're going to be, if they get the rest of this time, over 200 points on the first rotation, Maven. The first rotation.
I mean, we know FaZe have lost some maps, but not many. But they haven't lost a map like this. They are just getting beaten, battered, and bullied. As Subliners seemingly playing a perfect game of hardpoint. And I don't know if this was like a map like Breakout and Infinite Warfare or some of the maps we've seen over the years. We have massive comebacks. Like, maybe I'd say there's hope, but in this particular title, this is done. Like, we just haven't seen a comeback against a scoreline like this.
Well, and think about what New York did to get here, which I don't think they're going to let happen, is they got out-rotated on every single hill, right? Like, they out-rotated them, outmaneuvered them on the map. They made the heads-up plays, and when you're playing that way, you won't let it happen, or you shouldn't let it happen back to you, because you know exactly what you want to do on the map. Plus the slaying. I mean, I'm sure New York right now, they are just lighting up the scoreboard. Look at the kill feed. It just feels like Atlanta knows, right? They know this one's over.
Yeah, it's been very, very yellow. It's 5 in a row, 6 in a row. Looking for the knife. Hungry for more, but can't quite get it done. But that was a 6 spree and a 4 times multi-kill for the newcomer in Mac. Just 26 more points for Subliners needed, and they will close this out. We have not seen many 100-point clubs at all this year. The combo isn't even 100-point club right now. So what new membership are we going to see for FaZe? As they've got 59 points on the board. Unbelievable.
Well, the good thing is they win the Cafe rotation, so there's a chance they don't get 100-point clubbed, as they can lock this down. Because I know New York, they'll probably do rotate a little bit earlier just so they make sure they have hazmat control. They're going to send 1 or 2 more pushes at this. We'll see what they can do.
Well, now I'm disappointed. I kind of wanted the 100-point club because
I know, but I just, you know, I'm the one who's, I got to bring it, but we'll see. Max on the flank.
What was that, Joe?
Well, I didn't think this was going to happen. I don't know what to tell you. They had Cafe locked down.
They can win it here. They can win it here as Zuma running, gunning. Takes down 2, 12 points needed. They can win it here. This is the final push for FaZe to get in. Accuracy has the cross with the M4. Should be easy pickings for him as they all line up in front. Accuracy shuts them down, and there's the 100-point club. 250 to 84. FaZe Clan just got smacked as Subliners hand them their first loss on Petro. Hardpoint, that might as well count as 2 or 3 losses because they just got destroyed.
I think what's so impressive about this game 4 is the fact that the second half of the Hackney Yard domination was an absolute slaughter. Like, Atlanta FaZe bullied the New York Subliners on that map, and it just felt like everything was going their way. Abizi was stepping up, Simp was stepping up, and in the back of my mind I was like, this is done. But New York, they just shut me up.
Yeah, and maybe you know, not to make excuses for them, but we know they got iced a little bit there. That was one of the longer breaks we've had. You had about 10 to 15 matches between. We know one of the guys on the FaZe side was having trouble connecting, and that's why we had the delay. So I don't know, whatever that extra time off did, it gassed up Subliners, and FaZe came out with a dud. You'll see the stats there. That was just insane from Subliners across the board. Everyone putting in a massive effort. Attach only had 7 deaths and a hard point. Not often you see
2.5 minutes in.
Yeah, not often a stat line you're going to see from like an MP5. 19 and 7 with 2.5 minutes in the hard point. That was wild.
Yeah, I mean, this is you know, we're on the brink of maybe Atlanta FaZe losing their second match of the year, and I think we're going to show some B-roll of you know, their match loss in Los Angeles against the Minnesota Rocker in that semifinal, and we're going to another map 5. Minnesota, they were able to do it. Can the Subliners do it? That's the big question now.
Yeah, they have one series loss. Is this going to be the second? A push to the brink here. This is why, yeah, their third map 5. You think about Minnesota twice, and now this one. But FaZe, I mean, we know they've been upset. I mean, upsets have been a big story for this between Huntsmen losing to Florida and FaZe losing to Rocker. Like, we know the upset potential has been there. I think this one just feels, I guess this one feels like as shocking as the first time that Florida beat Huntsmen. The second one didn't feel all that shocking because we know they did it, right? Rocker beating FaZe didn't feel that crazy because the first time they played, they pushed into a map 5. We knew they matched up well. This one just feels insane to me because we know how poor Subliners have been. And even if we saw them improve in their first match yesterday, I still, just because I guess Huntsmen have been slumping so much, I wasn't convinced quite yet, but this would be one of the bigger upsets I think we've had all year, Joe. I think
and they're doing it in the hard points, right? But what makes FaZe a complete team? I think when we talked about, you know, this group, the reason we still picked Chicago and Atlanta is the only thing you're worried about with New York. You know they're probably going to be a good respawn team. What's their search and destroy going to be like? Are they going to be on the same level as the Atlanta FaZe in search and destroyers? Does that still need some time to bake in? I mean, in map number 2, they had a few opportunities, but that's when you saw like the Lysa Priesta, you know, take over. So this is the difference maker for me. If they can, I mean, they won a map 5 against Chicago yesterday. Can they do it again? I mean, if you do that, if you beat Atlanta and Chicago, I'm in. I'm all about New York.
Well, we're going to take a look at the search and destroy, I think, top 5 KDs from yesterday. There were some incredible performances. I mean, from teams that you wouldn't expect it. Like you saw Seattle Surge had a really solid performance. It was Slack that led the way with a 2.0. And I know it's just one match, obviously, and for some of these teams, one map like Seattle, but you like to see that out of them. Aqua there at number 2, but not much to write home about, considering they're going to lose that series. But Temp is there. I mean, Temp had the 13 and 5 map 5. The only downside for him, you know, we're not going to be seeing Ramaza again, but maybe he can be the person to take over the game. Maybe he can be Mr. Map 5 for this Subliners team.
Yeah, maybe he can be. You know, we know he has that confidence. We know he loves these big moments. So, and for Atlanta FaZe, you know, we've talked to Crowder a lot. He knows they're the type of guys, or I just don't think they really they're not over emotional where that game will put them into a tilt, right? I think they will forget about it. They'll focus on their map 5. We saw them do it earlier in the series, you know, going from map 1 to map 2. They will brush off that map 4 and just focus on this one.
No, if anything, I just picture Abizi like trolling, like, guys, we suck. Like that's how I picture those comms going to get ready for it. We know what a comedian kind of Celium could be as well. Like, I think they will absolutely brush that off. But still, it's unfamiliar territory for guys that, when you think about Simp and Abizi coming into this league, how many losses do they have of that magnitude? Like the map 4, not many, Joe. A couple.
All right, so just taking a look at this, we've talked about the hard point on Petro. It's the opposite in search and destroy. So you have not played this yet if you're the Atlanta FaZe. New York, they are 2-0, and I believe they beat Chicago yesterday on it. So, yeah, looking good.
Well, just based on that, yeah, sounds very good for New York Subliners to maybe finish off this big upset. Were they struggle in the map too was on their offenses. We know how heavily favored A is on this particular map. They want to do a round one straight up the B. Priesta going to be the point man for the defense here, as he's going to have to deal with quite a bit. Simp already rotating back towards B.
He's going to hear that, give them some call outs, so that's why one player's already rotating back.
You didn't see him. Didn't see him.
Didn't see him? Nope, did not see him.
Oh,
Priest
no.
is going to hear him.
Oh, no.
Bunny hop as well.
Oh, no. Oh, no. And he's at least able to to take out one, but I mean, if Tim sees him, obviously that's not a single kill through. 4v3 now for FaZe, as Tim just doesn't spot him laying prone in that corner.
There's so many of those positions around middle of the map. Temp though, he flies out now, finds the headshot on the Major Maniac, and now they are trying to isolate aBeZy inside A. The only player here, the nade, is gonna find him. So they go mid-map and they just take over this A side as they rotate on through. They knew that FaZe were gonna rotate back to B, and they're able to catch aBeZy.
They've got the numbers now. Can they clutch up in this 3v4? Or can Atlanta now bring it back in a 2 versus 3? Simp and Celium looking for any kind of entry with 30 seconds remaining on the clock. Still haven't spotted anything. He has one directly underneath him. There he's going to get the spot. Attach trying to hold it with the window, and there's the shot. His head gets picked clean. Simp gets dropped as well. A big round from Subliners, considering things might have fell apart at mid. But what did you say? You kind of nailed it. Oh, when you mentioned like all this stuff at mid map, dude, I was watching like, I can't remember, it was like Modern Warfare 2, or I was watching some old gameplay, like older COD, and it's just hysterical. Not hysterical, but it's crazy how different like graphical improvements have added so much stuff to the game. Like it used to be there'd be like a bush in a box. Now you've got like a table, an empty pizza thing, a couple of bikes on the road, a sign. Like there's just so many more things, to your point, that people can be playing behind.
You have to check.
Yeah, so many corners, so many points of cover. It's just it's a different day and age, that's for sure.
Yeah, but even after that Temp though finds that second kill, able to rotate to A, and I mean, they just find aBeZy. aBeZy is trying to make, like, almost basically what Priesta did, right? He's just trying to get one before he gets taken down to make the rotation easier for his team. But in round number 2, Major Maniac able to find that first blood on the back. And Simp catches accuracy jumping across.
Oh, accuracy thinks he's got a clean little dive across the tracks, but no, sir. Simp pins him to the wall. Attach now last up, and that's a fast offensive round for FaZe, as they just tear Subliners apart. Round win will tie us up again.
And you know, we talk a lot about FaZe and their prep. They have RJ, they have Crowder. You gotta think they prepped for New York, right? New York just played this map yesterday against Chicago. Guess what New York has to play with? Absolutely nothing, because I mean, Atlanta haven't played this at all in official matches, so you know they can use that to their advantage.
So what's your, I guess, your goal of your Subliners? Like, there's a team that you literally cannot prep for. Like, they've never played it. How does that change things for you going into it?
I mean, I think you just stick to your default strategies. You have stuff that works. While they haven't played in an official match, for the most part, a lot of the strategies are the same. Sure. It's just with a couple of different variations.
Okay. I thought Simp was going to have a free kill, but Attach able to bail out his teammate. Numbers, though, to FaZe. Temp brings it even. Temp and Attach versus Major Maniac and aBeZy. Temp spots for the window. aBeZy just able to get away, and then Temp able to dip out as well. He's got bomb. He wants to wrap this quickly. Major Maniac's got the read, though. He catches him, and that's bomb down outside a restaurant towards mid-map. Attach now last alive. He has had some wild S&D clutches over the course of his career. In these final 40 seconds, can he pull out a wondrous 1v2?
Doesn't have Deddy. They hear him. He's going to spot Major Maniac. They're going to double peeking him. He's trying to stay alive. Pulls out the M4. Has to reload that one. They're giving him some opportunities, but he needs the bomb and he needs to plant it.
They're just doing a good job of shouldering. Just not shouldering long enough to get dropped. He got what? 3 bullets in 3 different times to either aBeZy or Major Maniac, but they're able to back down at the perfect point where he can't quite finish the kill. Nice
yeah, I got a little numbers there, but they obviously know how to do it.
No, exactly. I kept thinking, like, stop it.
Yep.
Well, it's because, you know, the time to kill in this game is just wild. Like, you can just incinerate someone. That shouldering is even more terrifying than a lot of previous titles. Major Maniac with the big start at 5-1, and I thought Simp had 1, maybe 2 for a moment there, but can't connect on the shot. This offensive round, they're pretty split, to be honest. FaZe kind of all over the map right now, looking for an entry.
You see, maybe they'll do like a round we saw New York doing round number 1, where they took over mid-map and then hit both archways into A. We'll see what this turns into, but there's temp, there's accuracy. We're talking about mid-map, how there's so many different angles. They're showing you a few of them. Zuma's gonna find first blood on a BZ.
Well, now your bomb
No surprise there.
Now your bomb carrier is kind of all by himself, right? Celium just tucked away outside of A.
Wow,
but
they just found that.
Yep, all the
Both
kills
of
mid
those.
go to FaZe, but your bomb is still at A. So maybe they're waiting for the rotation out, and then he's gonna push forward and plant this, and that looks like that might be the case.
Well, I think what they were trying to do is wait for someone to watch over him. So he's going to rotate over to B. I think what you said would have made sense, but they were just worried that he was going to get taken down.
Yeah. Well, he was by himself. You're right. If he has one other teammate there,
Right.
it's probably a different play.
Yeah, it's probably a different play. Simp, Major Maniac continue to find all the kills in the middle, and here's okay. I think he was going for a bit of a ninja play right there. Desperation.
He was one with nature there.
Yeah.
Deep in the grass.
He was fertilizing.
And Priesta then fertilizes him with bullets, Joe.
Sure does. That's now 3 rounds in a row. It was a wonderful round 1 from New York, but since then, all Atlanta.
Subliners. They got to get something going. Similar to that opening to the game. This FaZe have just started to run away with these rounds. This looks pretty similar to their round 1. And it's going to be Priesta again that's going to have to deal with this towards mid. And Priesta this time, the car explodes, gets a little bit of help, and Temp, who made the play in that round 1 to really get stuff going for New York, already wiped off the map.
You know, I mean, Priesta is just, he's been a thorn in their side, right? You remember
Surge,
map
yeah.
2 where he was making the plays. This map making a few plays towards his B-bomb site. Gives his team man advantage. What is New York going to do in a 4 versus 5? Mac trying to spot whatever he can, open and peeking those doors.
And Priesta once again, just like, all right, run by me. I'll get one. Oh, he actually peeks right after that. So 30 seconds to go. 3v5 for Subliners, and they have to pick a site. No time to dilly-dally. And A will be the call. A BT. Maybe he hits a stun. But Major Maniac looking over him, continues his hot stretch. Accuracy makes the play behind to get 2, though. 2v2 now. Accuracy and Mac versus Celium and Priesta. They'll work to get the bomb down. Now, FaZe is pretty split.
Sim took down his teammate. So, yeah, this is a 2v2. You do have Priesta working the flank. Now it's a 1v1.
And how big is this for Mac? The newcomer to this Subliners roster. You're down 3-1 in map 5 to the best team in the game. Can you clutch? The problem? Priesta's got
flying.
dead silence,
He's flying
and he is
with
flying.
Daddy. Oh, he gets punched in the back.
No, not like that. Not like that.
Just opens the door. He's like, hello.
You saw what? It's, you know, a similar play in a way for Simp back in the map 2. He pops Daddy, gets in behind accuracy to clutch the 1v1. Here, it's Priesta with the dead silence. Now we'll see it from his POV. Welcome to the CDL. Thump, thump. Max down.
What a round from Priesta. Locking down middle of the map. Goes on the flank. Able to find that. Forces the 1v1. We saw his heroics in map 2. He brought them to map number 5.
It's tough, you know. As much as I was wanting to hype up Mac, you know, getting into the league, it's just it's dead silence. Like it's you're guessing sometimes, right? Just picking an angle.
A lot of aggression defensively from New York. They take restaurant control right away from Atlanta FaZe. That's going to be a first blood. 4 temp onto Abizi. Abizi again. Poor Abizi on his offenses, man. Who is that? Zuma's made his way literally in the middle of the entire team, but they were just above him.
$45 seconds to go. Offensive patience now for FaZe. Major Maniac's been the hot hand, just looking for an angle. He's got accuracy in the opposite building, second story as well. He might have, I think he spotted Attach. I think he saw him for just a second. I think that gave Attach a second to refocus, but again, it is Priesta just picking up the kills during the mid game.
Yeah, and it's a similar position we saw BZ in right at A. When you're the only player who's basically on an island defensively, the rotation comes back, and Max just trying to play a bit of a nerdy corner to find a kill or two, but the nades were still there for Atlanta FaZe. They find him. Now it's all down to Attach. He finds one on the flank, but good luck with that. It has been 5 rounds in a row after that round number 1.
I think you nailed it going into this. Like, a lot of teams, if you heard they lost both hard points, you think they'd be dropping, especially top teams, which most of our top teams are what? Really good hard point teams historically. That's like what has won championships. But with FaZe not having a big weakness, they might do it here through the Dom and 2 searches. And they're 1 round away from now doing it. Priesta 11-2, Major Maniac 9-3. Celium's just chilling. He's 1-3 right now. Go ahead, boys, do the work. Abizi now with the first blood. Finally some success in the opening of this game. Mac gets a truck to the face. Zuma, though, still up, gets to the God box.
You do have Attach working middle of the map. May have a one-on-one against Simp. Does.
Simp is twisted,
decide the round, and Simp is out. Just pulls out the pistol and runs away. He'll see you later. He goes around the corner. He finds the kill. Priesta was on his way to help him, so now it's a 2 versus 4.
Yeah, I thought for a second a standard kill for Attach, but Simp just too quick. Now just toying with their food. That nade's actually going to pay off. Celium drops, so Priesta now gets the angle as he gets his 12th kill in the game. Everyone in front of Zuma. Zuma drops. FaZe win. They'll keep, what, that 1 series loss record for them so far in the CDL this year. But Subliners, hold your heads high, man. You take out Huntsmen. You push FaZe the distance. There were some brilliant moments for Subliners, and it was really, it was just awesome as a commentator to see their improvement so far. It stinks to not come out with the win. It stinks to get dominated in this map 5, but still some great moments.
Yeah, I mean, for New York, it's not over yet. Atlanta, they are going to advance to our semifinal tomorrow, but New York, they will have to play a decider match later tonight against the winner of London, or we'll have that rematch versus Chicago Huntsmen. So that'll be a fun one to watch in this group. But still a lot of tournament left for both of these teams.
Look at, I'm telling you, they're all just trolling, man. Like, you see those little grins they had on the FaZe side? They're just giggling, man. They're probably like, oh, that map 4, what were we doing?
Yeah, they have no idea. Yeah, chalk it, whatever, you know, right? Just focus on map 5, and they did just that. I mean, who was it? What, Major Maniac and Priesta, both with double digits?
And I think there were some great performances from everyone on the team at times, but I think Priest has got to be your MVP because they win it through the search and destroy, right? They win it in 2 and 5, and Priesta was a hero in both. He drops double digits in both. He had the big moments, round 9 and 10 of the game too. This map, all over the course of the map, he was able to take over on Petro. Yeah, Priest has got to be my MVP. He just got it done in the search and got them the win. He is an all-around player without question.
I mean, plus their map 3, right? I mean, just what a map 3 domination it was for them. Because that first half, I was like, oh, geez, New York and the respawns are just looking so darn good. And yeah, you saw it at map 4, but that map 3 domination, that second half, it just felt like everything sort of shifted after that half.
Yeah, for that map 3, you talk so much about who spawns A, and a lot of times that's the side that's where it's like good and you get in a flow for a team, right? Like, that's where you find most of your kills. Like, let's say you have 30 kills at the end of the game, 20 of them are probably coming when you spawn on the A side, and 10 are coming from C. Like, it's that dominant usually if you get a good start. It just felt like for FaZe, it was just more dominant. They just played more perfect on that side than the Subliners did. But yeah, that was a wild turnaround. I want to say a big turning point for the series, but then map 4 happened. I don't know. This one was so back and forth. It was kind of wild. Like, it almost reminded me of when we used to have the online league, and it would be, one team host, one team host, one team host. You'd see the crazy swings. Like, this is all on the same server, so you don't expect to see as wild as swings here.
Yeah, but I mean, FaZe, they get to the semifinal. We thought they should get out of this group. They do, so job done for them. But they know they want to win this home series. So they'll be in that semifinal tomorrow. They'll join the Dallas Empire. So we'll have to see who will play those 2 teams. But we still have 4 matches left to figure that out.
Yeah, we still have a ton of matches, and we might obviously have a rematch between Subliners and Huntsmen, which could be interesting. That's one of the crazy parts, versus where you have in the past we've had that round robin format for groups. This with the GSL format where it's kind of like a little double elimination group. It leads to those a lot of times kind of back-to-back matches where you have to beat a team once and then you have to do it again. And obviously you think the advantage is to the team that's already won it, but there are some benefits there as you can think about what you can improve on. But the next match, I believe, is going to be OpTic Gaming against Los Angeles Guerrillas. They kind of had that co-hosting home series of the last live event we had at the Shrine. And I mean, you got to favor OpTic massively, I would think, with how Guerrillas have been performing. But I think this could also be one that's closer than maybe people think.
Well, I mean, they played in the Los Angeles, and wasn't it like Guerrillas came out map 1 and they were shredding, and then I think they threw that map away. I want to say I don't remember exactly how it went, but I felt like the Guerrillas played it pretty darn close. There was just a few clutch moments where
I went to a game 5.
OpTic Gaming took over and was able to win it.
I can't remember if that one was a reverse sweep or not, though. But that was
I don't remember either.
Yeah, no, it was a really crazy series where OpTic surged back, though. I remember that exactly. I just didn't look at that because we weren't casting this next series, so I didn't look at exactly how it broke down. But yeah, I mean, last time they played them very tough. But if you're Los Angeles Guerrillas, I mean, you're coming off your third loss to Surge, which is kind of insane. Like, that's just been a matchup that you can't seem to win when you go up against Octane and the boys. And then for OpTic, you saw some frustrations tweeted out from Slasher and some of the guys yesterday after their match versus Dallas. I mean, they played.
Well, good thing is none of those frustrations should be here, right? Like, you're playing another Los Angeles team.
Oh, you mean when you talk about server side and latency?
Yeah, hopefully, everything is should be as close to land as you can get. You would hope, because both these teams are based out of LA.
And if that's the case, which it should be, then they need to come out and dominate. I think OpTic need to get something rolling, because it's tough, because I want to feel for OpTic yesterday, but if it was on LAN, I don't know if they're beating Dallas either. I mean, they lost that one 3-1 last time, even though it was a close series. So the efforts pretty much mirror what we saw on LAN as well, but they still have to try and rebound. Let's take a look at the overall bracket, though, and where we stand now after that match and how we're moving forward in this tournament. You said 4 matches still to come, so still a ton of Call of Duty to go. Oh, we have as many matches remaining as we had in total yesterday. And I just don't know what to expect to close out the day. I mean, we're obviously going to have a much better idea how the bracket's going to look. You see there, as you said, FaZe and Empire have already moved into a semifinal. Who the hell is going to join them?
Yeah, and I mean, again, Royal Ravens Huntsman should be a great match. And I think the winner of this one, Guerrillas and OpTic Gaming, I think you have to feel pretty good about your chances getting in the semifinal, because you play Surge next. And I think both these teams should be pretty, well, maybe not the Guerrillas. I mean, with the Guerrillas, it's all 30 points for the Seattle Surge. They have 3 wins for them. But if you're OpTic Gaming, you're able to get past the LA Guerrillas, you have a good shot, I think, later on tonight versus Seattle Surge.
That's very true. But I believe coming out of a commercial break, we're going to get to an interview with our PlayStation Instant Reaction. It'll be Lottie with Priesta. But before we get there, guys, quick break.